Hello everyone, myself Dr. Mohini Kuchekar, Assistant Professor at PE Society's Modern College of Pharmacy, Nigdi, Pune. Today I am going to present a topic that is factors affecting cultivation of medicinal plant. Learning outcomes. After studying deeply this topic, learners will be able to understand what is meant by cultivation. They could able to describe factors affecting cultivation of medicinal plants and the impact of this factor on cultivation. Let's discuss first what is cultivation. The act of growing or raising plant in a controlled environmental condition is called as an cultivation. There are various factors affecting cultivation of medicinal plant. First factor, that is altitude. Then second factor is temperature and humidity. Third factor, rainfall or irrigation. Fourth factor is soil and soil fertility. Fifth factor is fertilizer and manures. Sixth factor is pest and pest control. Seventh factor is plant hormones, and the eighth and last factor, that is polyploidy. Let's start with the first factor, that is altitude. Altitude is nothing but the height of the plant from sea level. So it is the most important factor which influence the cultivation of medicinal plant. The increase the altitude, temperature and atmospheric pressure decreases while the wind velocity and relative humidity and light intensity increases. Thus, the climate condition change with height and they also produce change in the vegetation pattern of medicinal plant. These are some examples of medicinal plants with required altitude in meters. For example, cinchona. It requires the height from sea level, that is 1000 to 2000 meters. Second factor, that is temperature and humidity. So it is also another factor affecting the growth of plant. If the temperature is excessive or frost, it also affects the quality of medicinal plant. So here the example of some plant is given with their required optimal temperature. For example, here the cinchona, it requires 65 to 75 temperature. Next point, that is humidity. If we'll consider the example of the camphor and coffee, it cannot withstand the frost. Where saffron, it needs only cold climate, and we generally observe it is mostly cultivated in India at Jammu and Kashmir. As well as the example like pyrethrum, it requires a dry weather for cultivation. So as dry weather is required, it can be cultivated in the state like Rajasthan. So humidity is also plays an important role in growth and development of medicinal plant. Third factor, that is rainfall or irrigation. Except the xerophytic plants like, for example, aloe, acacia and few other, most of the plant need either proper arrangement for irrigation or sufficient rainfall for their favorable development. In few cases, well distributed rainfall throughout the year is desired. So continuous rainfall in some plant it is required. Next important, that is the rainfall and snowfall. So rainfall and snowfall, they have large effect on the growth and development of the plant. The water from the rainfall, it flows into the river and lakes. It percolates into the soil to form groundwater, and remaining water it is get evaporated. So the minerals which are present in the soil get dissolved in the water and are further they are absorbed by the plant. The water influences morphology and physiology of the plant. For example, here the continuous rain it can lead to loss of water, soluble substances from the leaves and the root by leaching. So it was also an important factor it should consider. Next, fourth factor, that is soil and soil fertility. The soil is the most important natural resource as it supports growth of the plant. Soil, it also provides a mechanical anchorage, that is mechanical support, as well as water and the essential plant food element for the growth and development of the plant. Most important point, that is the clay. It is one of the highly weathered portion of the soil which consisting of the finest particle. Soil consists of the mineral, air, water and organic matter. So again the classification is given depending upon the size of mineral matter, following names are given to soil. Suppose this particle size it is less than 0.002 mm, then we can state that soil as a fine clay. If the particle size is range in between 0.002 to 0.02 mm, then it can be stated as coarse clay, or we can also call it as a slate. If the particle size is range in between 0.02 to 0.2 mm, then it can be stated as a fine sand. If the particle size is range in between 0.2 to 2 mm, then it is stated as coarse sand. So this is the classification depending upon the size of mineral matter. Now, depending upon the percentage covered by the clay, the soil is further classified into different types. That is clay, loamy, slate loam, sandy loam, then sandy soil and calcareous soil. We will discuss it one by one. First, that is clay. Here, the percentage covered by the clay, it is more than 50%. Then next is loamy, where the percentage covered by the clay, it is range in between 30 to 50%. Then slate loam, where the percentage of the clay covered, it is 20 to 30%. Sandy loam, it covers the clay, that is 10 to 20%. Then sandy soil. This sandy soil, it contains more than 70% of the sand, and that's the reason it is stated as sandy soil. Then calcareous soil. It contains more than 20% of lime, and that's the reason the calcareous soil is called. Now, depending upon the organic matter, the soil it is further classified as poor soil, rich soil and intermediate soil. So poor soil, here the organic matter it is present about 0.05%, where in rich soil organic matter is rich. So the amount is 1.5 to 5%. In intermediate soil it is 0.5 to 1.5%. Let's discuss the next important point, that is soil fertility. So, it is the capacity of the soil to provide nutrients in adequate amount and in balanced proportion of the plant. If cropping is done without fortification of the soil with the plant nutrients, soil fertility get lost. So, soil fertility can be maintained by the addition of animal manures, nitrogen fixing bacteria, or either by application of chemicals of chemical fertilizers. Here, the sandy soil. The sand particles are large size, as we all are aware of this. So these leave large pore spaces which do not have capillary action, and therefore water is not retained by them. Most of the water is quickly drained off and reaches deep into the soil. The sandy soil is poor in nutrient element. It is less fertile. Then next factor, that is fertilizer and manure. Again, the fertilizer. So the fertilizer is any material of natural or synthetic origin, that is other than liming material, that is applied to soil or plant tissues to supply one or more plant nutrients which are essential to the growth of the plant. Fertilizer is a nutrient which is necessary for the development and growth of the plant. The second mode by which some fertilizer act is to enhance the effectiveness the soil by modifying its water retention and aeration capacity. So what is importance of fertilizer? Fertilizers are either applied to the soil directly on the plant or added to aqueous solution in order to maintain the soil fertility, then improve crop development. It improves the yield or crop quality. Biological origin fertilizer manures. So manure is materials which are mixed with soil. These supply almost all the nutrients required by the crop plants. This results in the increase in crop productivity. Manures are three types. First is farmyard manure, composited manure, or green manure. So farmyard manure, here cow dung manure or poultry manure is the example. Composited manures like organic nitrogen supplement, bone meal, fish meal. Green manure, here neem seed cake, vermicompost or oil cake. Biofertilizer. It can be defined as biologically active products or bacteria, algae and fungi which used in bringing about soil nutrient enrichment. For example, Rhizobium azotobacter. Major nutrients, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. There are secondary nutrients required, that is calcium, magnesium and sulfur. Macro, that is in very small amount, that is trace element like boron, chlorine, copper, iron, manganese, then the zinc and molybdenum. So around 16 elements are necessary for the plant growth and development. So in that, this is the list of the 16 element is given which are necessary for the growth and development of the plant. So in that, as we have seen, the nitrogen, it is the main nutrient for strong, vigorous growth and good leaf color and photosynthesis. The plants that are almost all leaf, need plenty of nitrogen. So the first number in the fertilizer for lawn is especially high because grass must continuously renew itself after moving. The next important, that is major nutrient, is phosphorus. It promotes root development which help strengthen the plant. It also increases bloom on flower and ripening of seed and fruit. Then next important major nutrient, that is phosphorus. It improves overall health of the plant. It helps them to withstand very hot and cold weather and defend against the various diseases, helps food formation, photosynthesis and uptake of other nutrient. Then secondary metabolite, or you can say secondary nutrients. So in that, secondary nutrient required mainly the calcium and magnesium and sulfur. Let's discuss the calcium first. So calcium is important for general plant vigor and promote good growth of young roots and shoots. It also helps to build cell walls. Then magnesium. Magnesium helps to regulate uptake of other plant food and aids in formation of seed. Sulfur. It helps to maintain a dark green color while encouraging more vigorous plant growth. Sulfur is needed to manufacture chlorophyll. Then trace element like boron, it helps in cell development and it helps to regulate plant metabolism. Chlorine is also there, which involved in photosynthesis. Copper helps in the plant metabolize nitrogen, that is nitrogen metabolism. Then iron assists in the manufacture of chlorophyll. Then manganese, it is needed for chlorophyll production. Molybdenum helps plant to use nitrogen. And the last one, that is zinc. It is used in development of enzyme and hormones. The next sixth important factor, which is very important in the cultivation, that is pest and pest control. So a pest is organism that causes an epidemic disease associated with high mortality. There are various type of the pests are there. So crawling, fungi and viruses, insect, rodent mice, bird, pigeons, crows. These are all the examples. So there are different methods of control of this pest because these pests are harmful. So mechanical method is there. So let's start with this. It employs manual labor along with different devices for collection and destruction of the pest. For example, hand picking to remove insect, pruning is there, then third one is burning, and fourth one is trapping of the pest. Second method, that is agriculture method. It covers advanced plant breeding technique, which is capable of inducing genetic manipulation resulting in production hybrid varieties which are resistant to fungal and bacterial attack. Another aspect in agriculture control is ploughing, which should be sufficiently deep so as to eradicate weeds as well as early stages of the insect. Next is chemical method. So pest controlled by using chemical pesticides. So here the chemical pesticides like insecticide, fungicides, herbicides, rodenticides are involved. Here the examples are also given. So the ideal insecticide, it is required to satisfy following parameters. It should be non-toxic and non-injurious to medicinal plant and human beings as it is used further by humans. It should be selective in action and highly toxic to the insect in very small concentration, so maximum use is avoided. The pesticide should be stable under ordinary conditions of storage, non-flammable, non-corrosive, and it should be free from any obnoxious odor. It should be non-cumulative in soil and possesses the stability on treated surface. These are all the required ideal characteristics of the insecticide. So there are various types of the insecticide, that is chlorinated hydrocarbons. Examples are given. Then organophosphorus compounds, here the examples are also listed. Carbamates, then inorganic carbon compounds, examples are listed. For these fumigants and natural products, examples are listed. In natural products, we generally prefer tobacco, pyrethrum, dairies, neem. These are all the examples. And these are the chemical structure of the pesticides. These are the structures. Then next important, that is plant hormone. It is a hormone like synthetic organic compound in small amount. It modifies the growth and development either by promoting or inhibiting the growth. General plant hormones. The phytohormones are broadly grouped under 5 major classes, namely auxin, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid, ethylene. Well, let's see the role of each hormone one by one. So first is auxin, which involved in basically cell elongation. Second, gibberellin. It involved in cell elongation, cell division, and translated into growth. Third is cell division plus inhibit synase. Fourth, that is abscisic acid, that is abscission of leaves and fruit. Ethylene, it promotes senescence and the fruit ripening is the major and very well-known use of the ethylene. Polyploidy. The term polyploidy or euploidy, it is a type of ploidy in which genome contain whole set of chromosomes. And euploidy includes monoploidy, diploidy, and polyploidy. When some plants contain more than 2 genomes, it is called as polyploidy. So polyploidy, it is caused by artificial induced method or the use of physical agent, you can say. Here example, here one by one, that is colchicine, veratrine, sulfanilamide, mercuric chloride. Mutation. So sudden change in the genotypic causing qualitative and quantitative alteration of genetic material, it is called as mutation. So mutation can artificially produced by certain agent called mutagens. There are again 2 types of mutagen, physical mutagens and chemical mutagens. So physical mutagen, it involve ionizing radiations and non-ionizing radiations. Examples are listed. Chemical mutagens, it involves alkylating agents and these acridines. Examples are also listed. So in this topic, we have discussed the different factors that affect the cultivation of medicinal plant and the impact of this factor on the cultivation. So thank you for your patience listening.